All right, everybody. It's Enlightened Living, Truth and One Discussions. Today, sorry, I was adjusting myself at the same time. Um, Today, we're going to talk about some things we've seen recently from like some of the people that are quote unquote the awakened people.
Well, I guess this I guess sort of random, but it'll be like a video review of a recent video I randomly happened to come across and listen to some of it, and kind of we want to talk about a little bit of things that we watched in it, and then maybe we'll also talk about some other stuff. We're trying not to make it too long. We get long-winded here, but so the video is from Infinite Waters. It's called "What's Really Going On." With Ralph Smart and Teal Swan talk about the whole things happening right now with the coronavirus and shutdowns and whatnot. I only got through like 15 minutes. No, we got to like 20, 25 minutes of the video. It's a like 2 hours, maybe an hour or 2 hour video.
That's
Um,
just our disclaimer.
oh yeah,
We
our
didn't watch the whole.
disclaimer: we didn't watch the whole thing, so we're only like discussing on what we watched in it. Um, so yeah, with both of these, when I first started my awakening journey, I listened to Teal Swan for a short minute, um, and then because on your journey of awakening and coming to into your inner like guidance, like your path or whatever in your life or whatever, you can there's certain events or people or you know that you learn from and can take information from and helps you like the next step on your journey. So for a short minute, Teal Swan was one of those people. Ralph Smart for maybe a couple of minutes, and he still puts out a lot of really good information. And she maybe does too. I don't really listen to her stuff a lot anymore. Um, but now that this whole coronavirus thing has come up, I feel like there are certain people in the awakened community or like a spiritually awakened community that and the thing is everyone can do what they want. I'm not trying to be like too like you need to do it this way or that way or whatever, but I just want to make sure people don't get too wrapped up in other people's fear based thinking. Or you can if you want to, but I guess we'll just talk about our perspective on what we listen to and kind of go from there, I guess. I don't know. But so yeah, their video, like I said, we watched like the first 20 minutes of it, and it was a lot of um, the main, I guess, direction of at least that first part of it that we watched. And I'll put the video in our description so you can welcome to go and watch the whole thing. Or maybe there's more information there that we didn't get to because we only listened to, like I said, 20 minutes of it. But um, there's a lot of kind of like, you wanna?
They had a lot of like interesting perspectives on how this whole thing is going down, and a lot of it keeps coming back to like power people and how they're controlling everything and to be like
Oh,
afraid.
that's right, the control narrative, and I think their main uh, discussion or what they were talking about, at least in that first part, was how like this is where I had kind of not like an issue, but more like I guess what I want to bring up in our discussion here. The people that are spirit, like everyone should be doing something. We should all be fighting. Basically, we all need to get the sword
Yeah.
and stand up and fight for our rights. And like the people that are sit back and kind of do the meditation or think that everything's gonna turn out well, kind of like how we are. um,
You're gonna lose.
you're basically a bunch of you're the losers, or you're not helping the situation by um, kind of having a positive outlook on it instead of actually. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
something along those lines, but um,
Yeah, that's it. That's how I was thinking about it as well. Like, winning a fight against something that you don't even know what you're fighting against, especially when it's like what a lot of people interpret this as like this is the the world powers, the people that have been in charge of like this Earth plane for who knows how long. Like, there is their family lineages, and they have their hands tied into everything, like media, money,
but the thing
control
is, it's
everything.
like here's. We'll go ahead and finish.
Um, it's like their perspective is like we're fighting like Goliath right now, and the thing is like all the world is changing for the positive, for the better. You don't have to be fighting anybody because this has all been played out. This whole thing has already taking place, and we know where it's going because like that's the manifestation. That's the power of the people. The real power is you create it. You work together. You can do stuff. You don't have to be like, I'm gonna battle, because that's how you lose the fight. You can't win a fight like this. There's no reason even to fight.
But I guess I'll also say that I feel like everyone has their place. Like whatever what it comes down to is everyone should just do what they feel that they need to do or not do, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone should be telling anyone like that they need to do it this way or, don't do it this way.
Yeah.
It's like if you feel like the best thing for you to do is protest, or if you feel like the best thing for you to do is sit at home and paint, or go walk in the woods and meditate, or keep going to work and wear your mask and get the vaccine when it comes out.
That's a good point.
Yeah, do what really you deep down inside feel like you need to be doing is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
because the thing is, like you said, it's not a fight necessarily. There's a it's a place for experience for every, like it's the way it is because there's, what am I trying to say? Everyone has their own experience in this scenario, or this what do you call it, this thing that's going on right now. And you have to allow people to kind of experience what they need to experience throughout this whole change of reality that we're going through, really. I think that's probably the main thing I would like to say for that. Well, because I know at one point what was it? There was, I think, during their discussion, Teal, Swan, and Ralph Smart, or they said, mentioned something about the boat going down the waterfall. I want to comment on it. We actually both wanted to comment on this one because if anyone listens to this, that perspective is very flawed, and we will say why. Do you remember exactly how it went? Because you can tell it, and then we can go ahead.
All right, so she made a comment about like this situation being kind of like a boat on the water, and there's people in the boat with her essentially. So she's in the boat, and
It's heading down a waterfall.
no, it's not even heading down a waterfall. She just said the water's picking up in speed. There's starting to get rapids, and then everyone that's on the boat's like, "Oh no, it's fine. Everything's gonna be just fine." And she's like, "Are you kidding?"
Heading for a waterfall.
No, she said.
She
said for her own perspective, that's what it was gonna do. The people on the boat didn't say anything like that. They just said everything was gonna be fine. But she said it was headed for a waterfall because her perspective, what she knows, when the water picks up like that, it's dangerous. We're going over a waterfall. We're probably gonna die. And she said, "This is the way you have to think about this."
Yeah, and it's like, so she said, what's the best thing to do? Just sit there and like, oh, everything's gonna be fine and wonderful, or like actually do something because you're about to die, pretty much. So what's interesting about with the whole discussion was that this was even said, really, because there's not a lot of perspective put into this scenario, and there's a lot of different angles that you can go at it to make this almost like an irrelevant like analogy, pretty much, and one of those you brought up a few good ones. Go ahead.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, at first it's like, okay, she doesn't know anything about these other people's perspectives, and she automatically assumes hers is the right one because she's like, oh, water picking up. I've learned this. That means we're going over a waterfall. But and then she's like, the other people said, oh, they're just gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be just fine. And she's like, what are you doing? What are you flipping out about? And then what she doesn't realize is, what if these people have been down this river before, and they know it's gonna be perfectly fine? They're like, yeah, it's gonna pick up for a second, and then it slows down because it opens up into like a lake or something like that. It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna go over a waterfall, or if it does, it's like, oh no, this is a great one because watch, it's gonna pick up. We're gonna go over this little cliff, and it's like, it's almost like you get to go in a nice little pool or something. She's
a fun ride.
Yeah.
And then you get to the bottom of it, and everyone's fine. That kind of thing.
Exactly. She's just assuming that her perspective is the right one, and everyone else is being silly or stupid. But the thing is, like, she doesn't know any of the other people's perspectives because she's only assuming she is the right one.
Yeah, and the thing is, and that's the thing about life. You don't know what other people's experiences and perspectives are. And I think that's the main thing that we want to bring into their discussion to our discussion, is that you don't know what other people's perspectives are. You don't know where they're coming from in their life path or what they've already experienced. You don't know if they've done this 100 times. They already know where everything's going. They already know, yeah, don't panic, just whatever, just live your life and have fun. You don't know if it's something that they need to just like go through and experience, so that they do know. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know. So that's why I think it's important that you don't need. There is no need to try to get other people to. Even though there's definitely like a there's a like a feeling to want to get people to wake up, shake them awake. At least I'll say from my perspective, since we're talking about people's perspectives here.
Yeah.
Um, that comes up, especially when we go out in public and see everyone wearing masks and stuff. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, you want to be like, come on, you guys, come on. But then you have to bring yourself back to, this is something they have to experience. This is what they
They
have
have to
to.
go through this.
And we have to go through our experience of being like, what the heck? Are we the only ones that like?
Yeah.
Are we the crazy ones? What's going on here? So it's all about. It's all experience. But yeah, I think the main thing from that, because I don't want to, anyone who watches that, I don't want them to. There's just a bigger perspective than what they give in their video, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's definitely the thing that we've been coming up to, and now we're like finally settling into it fully. Is everyone here is doing what they're supposed to be doing, experience things the way they're supposed to. If they're supposed to be scared and wearing a mask and hiding indoors, they need to go through that. They need to figure that out. And telling other people that their perspective is wrong, or like that we need to do something else, trying to get people to pool together with you to do something. If they do join you, that's what they're supposed to do. But if you're trying to like force people, but if they don't, that's fine too. It's like you don't have to be like, you're wrong because you didn't do this with me.
or you didn't do it this way, or whatever.
Exactly.
But even with all that being said, wait, did you have any more thoughts on their video or anything like that?
Oh, I just have to make a comment. Also, it's like these people like have their website and they actually sell masks.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I don't want to point fingers or anything, but I do want to. It's probably good to mention that if you see someone who, and again, it comes back to perspective and yada yada yada. But we're gonna do finger pointing and all. We're gonna do all the
And
stuff we
laughing.
said
We're gonna
and
joke
laughing at
about it.
people and joking. But we're gonna do all the stuff we said we shouldn't do.
This is in good humor.
If you see someone who is supposed to be like in maybe leading people to more awakened consciousness, or I don't know, especially through this event that's going on now, but then they have masks that are for sale for you to wear. I think there's a what is it? It's a little. It says a lot. Yeah, let me just put it that way. It says a lot. If you want to buy into that, if they're either capitalizing off of people's fear,
Which is
or
not good.
this isn't really the best thing to do, or they really believe it themselves, and then so they're at that level, I guess, of energy, of fear mentality and whatnot. And I don't know, do you really want to be lining up with that? I don't know. It's just stuff to think about, everyone.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too. Is like if you do want to go to war with people that are trying to be awake or whatever, don't go to war with people that are afraid, because you're gonna lose. It doesn't matter how good of fighting and we're like figuring things out. If you go in afraid, you've already lost.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to point out to all the guys out there, like, oh, manly, I'm tough, and that.
So we're on a new subject here.
Oh, because it's about the whole like selling masks thing.
Where, all right, you're gonna bash some dudes, but go ahead.
Because this to me is funny. It's like there's a lot of guys out there like, I'm a man, I take care of my business, I do my thing. If you wear a mask at all during this, unless you're like at the hospital like working or something like that, your man card is gone. Like you can't get it back. It's gone. It literally is just gone. Like that's
Why is this now?
because it's like even if you believed this whole thing anyways, the chances of death are like less than 1%. So it's like the chance of you getting killed by this is very, 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 very small. It's like you probably had a bigger chance of dying by like tumbling down your stairs if you have stairs, or like driving your car. So yeah, your man card's gone.
You revoked your
And
card.
you can't get it back. Like it's over. Just so you know.
Oh my god, let's talk about traveling recently. We recently went across the country. From one end of the coast pretty much all the way to the northwest and then back again. We drove because the airlines effed around with our tickets last minute. We had to cancel and rebook, and then kind of 5 days before, we booked with Delta. We rebooked. We had Southwest first, and they screwed around. We're canceled, and we rebooked with Delta. And then 5 days before our flight, they changed our connecting flight, so we wouldn't even be leaving. It turned into a 2 day trip instead of a 1 day trip, because we have to rebook our connecting flight. But anyway, I'm naming names because airlines, they're very shady right now, as
Yes.
well as a lot of other people. But and then they put in this rule, like the day that we fly, their new rule is that everyone has to wear masks,
Yeah.
and you go through
Disinfectant machine.
this body disinfectant
It looks
machine.
it looks like a personal gas chamber that everyone gets to take their turn and get like gassed.
Yeah, and so we're like, no, thank you. We're gonna cancel, and we're gonna get a car and drive across the country. And that's what we did, and it ended up being a lot more fun and a lot. And financially, it was a lot better too, because car rentals are cheap now. But yeah, and so basically from that, you want to look from there. You don't have to play the game just because it's being played right now. You don't have to participate in it. And we came across that a lot through our travels, where we're just like, sorry, you can do that, but we're not. Sorry. And the airline is a big one, because we're not going to step into a machine and get gassed with whatever disinfectant, bleach, or whatever, and then wear a mask the whole flight. You're asking for some sort of respiratory disease, and like, come on, you guys. Like, let's think about this logically, okay? So yeah, we definitely just didn't do that. And everyone, this is how you should approach it if you want to not play this game. Just don't play it,
Yeah.
and live your life and do what you think is fun, and don't f around with this stuff. But
It's like during our travels, like there's many places that there was nobody really wearing masks, and there's some places that had pretty much everybody. And the thing is, like, if they're like, we were like, okay, well, let's get some food for the road or whatever. Uh, we don't really do fast food. Mostly, we like to go into places like grocery stores. So if the grocery store had a mandate where it's like, oh, you have to wear a mask, we're like, we're not going in there. We'll go somewhere else.
yeah,
It's like it's that simple. We can be like, oh, well, my favorite food is in there. I'm gonna put on a mask. That's not the kind of people we are. We're like, all right, if you have that rule, we're not coming in. We'll do something else, and that's what we did.
yep. It was really interesting because on our way back, the last place we were gonna stay the night, because we stayed in hotels most of the nights, just to break up the driving. But our last leg of the trip, and our travel stuff is on our other YouTube channel, our adventures YouTube channel, if anyone wants to look at them. But our last leg of the trip, our hotel in Mississippi, was it Oxford, Mississippi. You went in there to go check into our hotel, and you go ahead and continue.
Okay, so there's been a couple places that like had like a weird rule, like, hey, please stand over here. And I'll just be like, sure. I'll stand there for a second, then start walking around, and they're like looking at me all like bug-eyed, and I'm like, so it's fine. So some of the times it's like they're all like afraid for no reason, because like they're still gonna be picking up my stuff, like my card and everything like that. So I'll just hand it to them directly, and they're like, okay. It's like, yeah, it's like we went from like, hey, how you doing, being around each other, to like being ridiculous.
In
But
certain places.
yeah, in certain places.
So
But
there's definitely, like you said, places throughout the country where like people are still chill and like acting normal, whatever the normal is, right? Not bugging out about stupid, dumb shit. Okay, go ahead.
okay, so fast forward to Oxford, Mississippi. I went to go check in, and these two ladies are wearing masks, and I was like, whatever. Some people do that, some people don't. And they look at me all like, oh, excuse me, sir, do you have a mask? I was like, no. They're like, oh, hold on, we'll get you one. I was like, I'm not gonna wear one. And they're like, you're not gonna wear one? I was like, no, I'm not gonna wear one. I refuse to wear one. And they're like, oh, well, this hotel you have to wear a mask. I was like, the hotel you have to wear a mask? They're like, yeah, as long as you're in this hotel, you have to wear a mask. I was like, that's not gonna happen. And they're like, well, you have to. I was like, well, then cancel my reservation, please. And then they're like, you want to just cancel? But we have some extra masks here for you. I was like, I'm not gonna wear a mask. And then they're like, but the whole city has this mandate where you have to wear a mask. I was like, the whole city? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, I'm leaving the city. And they're like, uh, you're just gonna leave? I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave. I'm not gonna wear a mask. And they're like, oh, well, I was like, can you please cancel my reservation? And they're like, oh, okay, we'll cancel your reservation. I was like, thank you. And I was like, is there anything else you need from me? They're like, no. I was like, all right,
Have a good
have a
day.
good day. I'm leaving. And they're like, very confused, like, because I was just like, completely refused. And I was like, your whole city is on lockdown, kind of like that. I'm out of here. I'm not staying. This is ridiculous. It's like I'm not gonna walk around the city with a mask and like walk around the hotel with a mask and all this. It's like you look ridiculous, and it's like it is ridiculous. It doesn't help you do anything besides look like a fool, I guess.
Possibly suffocate,
And yeah, it's like
not get fresh air.
I had to wear a mask when I worked at the shipyard because of like some of the weird chemicals we were around. But all it does is like slightly stop the smell coming in, and then afterwards you're like coughing up fibers from these masks. Or like you can make your own all those other nonsense too. But like seriously, like this is it's like I don't care. It's like what do you guys think about this stuff? It's like for me, it's absolutely hilarious watching people walk around bug eyed with masks on. And the more it covers your face, the bigger the mask is, the more hilarious you look to me. But that's just me
Oh my
personally.
gosh. Okay, yeah. So I know we keep talking about be respectful where everyone else is in this whole situation, yada yada yada. But
It's
we
hard
kind
for
of
us
are.
not to laugh.
It's hard not to like laugh, unfortunately. And then I can be a real dickhead sometimes too to people. Not really a dickhead, but like a dickhead in a nice way to people in public. Like the other day, we were at the store. Holy gosh, everybody in the store was wearing a mask almost. There was a few people that weren't. Every time I see people that aren't wearing masks and a crowd of people that are, I'm like, hopefully that means there's a spark in them somewhere, right? Um, but
Because it's not required.
yeah, it's not required. But I mean, the workers at the store, I think it's required for
Yeah.
them. But like, it's not a requirement to go into the store. But everyone's wearing one. So I'm like, whatever, you guys, go ahead. But like, we were checking out at the grocery store, and the person that bags your groceries was like standing like far away from me, and she looked terrified. And because I was around the corner, because they have this rule, you stand at the yellow line so that the person can bag your groceries. I didn't realize. I don't pay attention to their stupid little like stickers on the
Announcements.
ground and whatever. I just like walk around, and I'm kind of a dickhead. I like people that have the mask on. I walk kind of close to them. I'm like, oh hi, how are you, and smile and walk, nearby people. Um, so whatever, sue me, right? But this woman checking out the groceries. Eventually, they're like, can you stand behind the yellow line so that she can bag your groceries? And I was like, what? I'm like, I can bag them if you want. If you're that terrified of standing close to me, I'll bag the groceries. They're like, oh, okay, sure. I'm like, yeah, chill out, you guys. It's like this. Look at the actual statistics of this quote disease. All right, which we believe is not. We should probably do a video on that. Like this whole virus thing, pandemics and blah blah blah. Like this is most of it's BS. 99% of it is BS. When you really look at the science behind all this and the studies that have actually been done, there's been no scientific study to prove that viruses actually exist. We can get into that some other time. And anyway, you shouldn't be afraid, even if it was like some sort of illness or whatever. You really don't need to be that terrified of it to where you're willing to cover up your. What they said, put a bag, walk around with a bag on your head. And you're willing to do that just because you're afraid of dying. Because
Yeah.
most
Saran
people,
wrap your body.
yeah, right. Most people are doing it because they're scared of death. They're not trying to do it to help other people, make sure they're not spreading the disease, social distancing, care about your fellow humans.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like,
not afraid of other people's death. They're afraid of their own.
yeah, you're scared. You're scared of dying. Okay, that's the only reason why you're following these rules. Um, so don't try to pretend like it's something else.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to sometimes just like call it right in people's faces and just watch the reactions. I don't know. It's kind of I don't know. You can call it whatever you want, I guess. But and overall, this is not. It can look serious, but I feel like it's just not that serious. The more we, wade into this. I mean, I know there's a lot of people in situations where it may be more difficult for them, like if they're having problems, like paying their bills or whatever, or who knows. I understand that, but that's not a reason for you at your place wherever you are to experience your reality the way you need to.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like, and just like you were saying, like there's people that can't pay their bills and stuff for that and whatnot, like right now. And the thing is, the reason why a lot of this is happening is to give people perspective.
Yeah, and there's a reason. Yeah, you've been taken out of whatever situation was your normal for a reason, so you can reevaluate and re-look at sort of like how you're doing things in your life and make some sort of change. This is the opportunity for humanity as a whole to change the way that we do things, and that's really what we need to be focusing on, right? Like aligning with sort of our highest frequency or potential of how we want our reality and existence to play out, sort of like that.
Absolutely, and that's another reason why like places like liquor stores and stuff like that were deemed quote unquote essential, and vape stores and all that stuff. It's because they knew people being pulled from their situation and having lots of time to think and learn about things, that they would start to change. And the thing is, like, they wanted them to change it in the other direction. So what they do is like, hey, everybody, just get drunk, hang out at your house and be depressed and think about the world ending, kind of a thing. Because it's like they know it's like if you start to have a positive look on life and like try to like figure some things out, do some research, or just like find out what you really enjoy, that you'd really, really question what you were doing and what you used to do and be like, I want to do something different. And that's why they were trying to make it so everything's all doom and gloom everywhere you look, because they don't want you to believe and know that you were way more
There's
than
way
what they're
much
telling you.
more potential in life, and that what you just said is pretty much that's the catalyst to the new world or new existence for everyone. Really, it's like you just have to that shift is and the feelings in the shift is maybe harsh for some people or like maybe a little difficult to go through, but it's needed in order to change directions, and go in a more positive direction for the whole world and planet and all of existence. And that's where it's headed. I really still feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's where it's headed.
Absolutely.
Like I literally, I mean, it was kind of irritating in some of these places where we stop at, and some of these towns we'd go through didn't realize there was a citywide mandate to wear masks anywhere in public, and we'd like stop at a store, and then people would be like, or they'd be on the door like you have to wear your mask. Be like, oh, okay, we can't stop here. I guess we'll go find something else. But it's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's the last ditch efforts to try to control people and like make them feel like they are nothing, instead of knowing, because they know how powerful people are, and that is why they try to control and like lock you down and make you miserable, because your manifestation powers are very powerful. If they can control them, they got you. So just like live and let go. Try to figure out like what you enjoy doing. Don't listen to people that say fight. Don't, unless you want to fight, and don't be afraid unless you just want to be afraid. But the thing is, like, even if you, like, if being the afraid part, it's like you really need to think about like why you're afraid.
Yeah, at least do a little bit of like research and look at some statistics first and all that kind of stuff, because you can save yourself a lot of like fear and stuff, stress.
And the thing is, like, personal reflection on your fear, like the understanding it's like you just don't want to die, or you're afraid of dying. Like all these things is like it's a personal fear, and you're like you get this cookie cutter idea because they told you that, oh, if you do this, you're helping your fellow man, woman, child, you know, brother, sister, family, friend. It's like, no, ultimately you're just afraid for yourself, which is fine, but you really need to reflect on that. Anything you'd like to add at the end of this?
Yes, everyone do your thing and be well and align with your inner guidance. Meditate if you have the time to do it. But be happy. Everything's gonna turn out just fine. Everyone's gonna be where they need to be, and unfortunately, I don't think it's more serious than that. And that might sound kind of apathetic. I don't know, but I feel like just there's such a rich experience to be had in this existence that enjoy your experience, whatever place it is or wherever you're at. And just the act of enjoying your experience kind of lifts you to maybe a place that you would rather be that you're not at now. I don't know, but it helps you align with your higher frequency of your own being or whatever. But enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself, everybody. Okay? Have fun and enjoy yourself. That's what I want to say.
Oh yeah. And again, you guys out there, yeah, I'm pointing at you. Lost your man card. All right.